Yeah, summer nowadays looks much different than it did, 5 years ago, let alone back when I played. But, having the opportunity to have that 8-week period with the guys and being able to do drills on the field, it really changes the way you install, you prepare, and kind of the way you integrate into fall camp. You spend so much time with your guys over the summer that fall camp is less about getting in shape and conditioning and more about refining the tools and getting used to the physical contact and technique that it takes to execute at a high level. And I thought our guys had a fantastic summer. I've said, I'm sure other people in the country had great summers too, but I don't know if there's anybody in the country who had a better summer than we did just because our guys did such a great job. We had 116 guys here all summer, which is more than we had last year, and ended up whittling it down. Only 110 were able to suit up and play today, but there were a lot of guys that were here putting the prerequisite work really since Memorial Day. That's kind of when we treat the start of the season now. And man, it was fun to see them come out today. There's always there's something different about having a helmet on and getting to have the jerseys on that just makes it feel like there's a little bit of an uptick. But our guys are definitely ready to go, and we're excited about refining as we get ready to build up for that first game.
Cody, you can't hit yet. So what are the most important things? What are your priorities before you can start having contact?
I think the biggest one is just attitude and effort. Being able to see guys finish football drills going full speed and doing what's asked of them. It's kind of nice to be able to do a lot of things without contact because whether it's alignment, assignment, communication, you want to get those in place before you really start going. It's kind of like, driver's ed. You want your kid to be able to learn to drive in a safe space, and it might be in a parking lot before you start adding live bullets, because if they're worrying about getting hit and trying to think about what their gap is and what their depth is and what their assignment is, then I think it's probably a little bit more dangerous that way. But it's good to focus on, kind of what guys should be doing and give them the lay of the land at full speed, and then go out and play big boy football and actually rack a little bit.
From a personnel perspective, did everybody come back that you anticipated? Have there been any changes? Anybody lose anybody?
Yeah, we have not lost anybody over the summer. Everybody that's been here since Memorial Day that we kind of talked about at the end of May is still here and ready to roll. And as of now, hey, day one, we're healthy. Shocker. But it'll be interesting to see how we go through camp. Obviously, we have to manage that. We have a plethora of seniors, which is fantastic for our leadership and experience. Those always go into building a successful program. But you also know that some of these guys have 6 years of wear and tear on their body now with the COVID year. So we've got a lot of young guys that we got to integrate, make sure they get a lot of reps. We have a lot of other guys that we have to continue to fine-tune and help compete, but do so in a way that's smart for their bodies.
What's the most important thing to accomplish between now and the opening day of football?
Without a doubt, I think it's trusting each other. Just because camaraderie is so important going throughout a football season, but also trusting each other to make plays. Who can I count on as a human? Who can I count on to go make plays for me when it really matters? Whether it's a linebacker trusting a D lineman to stay in his gap, a quarterback trusting a receiver to go make a catch. That's really what you're trying to build. I think schematically, you're able to do so much with the guys now in the summer. You kind of know what route combinations you want to have together, how you're going to handle certain blitz pickups. But man, you just really don't know until you can turn up the dial a little bit from a competition standpoint and see who can respond. And it's fun, sure enough, there's some kids that were true freshmen that look like chickens with their head cut off in the summer, but running around in pads today, they look like they can play some football. And you got some other guys that when their elements of spontaneity, and it's not just a drill, that they're not able to react quite as fluidly as you may have anticipated over the summer. So playing football is definitely different than running the other drills. So building that trust in each other, kind of building the team chemistry is really important, but also knowing who can go out and make plays and you can trust on the field.
Everybody's going to watch the quarterback competition.
Yeah.
How do you grade that? Have you got a chart that says here's the drills that we're going to put them through? Here's how we're going to grade the progress?
Yeah, I'll bring in some of those sheets next time, and I'll actually show you what we do. So we have a category that we break down. Obviously, you have operational successes and errors that we want to, whether it's missing a protection call, missing a check, anything operationally that the quarterback may have done well or a miss. Then there's also a category for, operated as needed. It's not necessarily plus or negative. You just did what you're supposed to do. Same thing for throws. Did they make was it a great read? Was it an evident read? Was it a poor read? You have different categories for throws. You have big time throws that, man, that was hard to make. And then there's some throws that everybody in this room could have made and you have to grade those differently. It's been interesting to see the NFL move towards that total QBR rather than quarterback rating, because hey, third down and red zone matters more, and we try and find opportunities to grade those. So we'll have competitive periods that the quarterbacks will get to do, and we'll grade those and add them and subtract them from their score, because if you look great in 7-on, but every time we put on pads you can't complete a pass, that's going to be an issue, and we want to try and find that out as soon as possible. We also talk a lot about explosive plays, completion percentage, turnover to touchdown ratio, and total turnovers. And we also chart, turnover-worthy plays. So if you're throwing interceptions that guys drop, in my mind, you still have to count that as an interception. All of those things go. I mean, there's a factor of about 15 things that we chart the guys on every single day. Colney Castle does a great job talking to them. They're all having a ton of fun competing. And I really appreciate all the hard work that Colney Castle has done and all the quarterbacks in that room over the summer, and I'm excited to see it play out over the fall.
What other positions are there real competitions right now?
Jeez. I think there's competition everywhere. I think the running back room is really interesting just because you have Keoa, our lone returner in the running back room, is extremely talented. You got Dason, the converted linebacker, Donnie, the grad transfer, and then you have Jackson Riddle and Carson Sudbury, who are some true freshmen in the mix, and then Hunter Roddy coming in from what? I mean, there's nobody in that room who's not ready to play, but none of them have played extensively. So it's going to be interesting to see those guys continue to compete. And again, you kind of got to get out the fine-tooth comb and figure out who's doing what appropriately, and put them through some adversity to see how they respond and try and mimic real-life football as much as possible. I think kind of figuring out the slots is going to be interesting for us, just because there's so much talent in that room of guys that we think could end up being special, and obviously with the production of Chaden leaving, there's a lot of touches in there somewhere that we have to look at. I think on defense, we love our leadership at D-line and in the secondary. All those guys are coming back. Even at linebacker, there's some seniors, but they're strong there as well, and they're competing, and really excited to see some of the young guys. It's the competition for depth is really exciting at places like corner and linebacker.
When's your first scrimmage?
First time, it won't be a full-on game scrimmage, but we're going to have a bunch of live periods. Will be next Saturday. So this Saturday will be the first opportunity to create some game situations, but we're still technically in shells. So we'll try and be as physical as we can be within the bounds of the rules. We'll go live next Wednesday and next Saturday, and then we'll have scrimmages on the 17th and the 24th. The 17th will be more of a game-like scrimmage, and then the one that's on the 24th is more of a rehearsal, just to go through operationally what you'll do on a game, but probably won't take guys to the ground.
You're going to practice more inside or outside?
A little bit of both. I'd like to get some outside practices in, just knowing where we're at, but the reality is, we play 8 games inside this year, and our two of our outside games are going to be, at the beach first week of October and at Oregon State Labor Day weekend. So I don't know if weather's necessarily going to be a factor until we get to November, and it'll be a massive factor. So, having the opportunity to play at North Dakota and at NEU mixed in with those, being in the dome is going to be important for us. Obviously, ICCU is putting in that massive jumbotron for us, which restricts our space a little bit for the next 2 days. But we'll do inside and outside. I think it's good to get some vitamin D, get some sunshine, get outside. But I do want our guys to make sure that playing indoors is something they're comfortable with, because a lot of people think, hey, playing indoors is an advantage. But when people come here, it's a little bit weird picking up the ball and the lights and understanding that. So it's something we want to make sure we're comfortable with. I would say it would probably be somewhere near a 70-30 split once both fields are open.
Speaking of outdoors, guys are definitely battling the elements today. It was hot. It was about 100 degrees. How did the guys do? And then maybe what advantages are there to getting some of these hot practices in?
Yeah, I think it's definitely harder earlier in camp because you're getting used to wearing a lid. They haven't worn a helmet in 5 months. But I think there are elements of adversity that you always try and manufacture in practice. Sometimes it can be a tough competitive period, but hey, when you don't have pads on, you almost embrace that this is adversity in itself, that this is hot, and it's one thing to recognize that it's absolutely hot outside, but what are we going to do to overcome it, and what are we going to do to make sure it doesn't become a distraction? That whether there's 5 feet of snow on the ground or it's 110 degrees, we got to go out and play football. And the cool thing about football is the other team's always going to deal with the same elements you do. Who's going to respond to it better? So whether it's rain, snow, shine, heat, we're always going to do our best to recognize the possibility of adversity, but we don't want to become a part of it. And today, heat was the opportunity to overcome.
Cody, you have a really stacked receiver core this year. Going through fall camp, what's the way to balance this idea of guys that are going to get playing time and still building depth of the entire core as well?
Well, one thing that we do a lot of, I mean, we're going to spend a lot of time in 2 groups. You know, there at the end of practice, we're not hitting yet, but I mean, we're going to go in 3 groups of practice, and we're going to get more reps than most anybody in America. So even if you may not be a guy that is, you know, pushing for playing time right now, at least in the eyes of the people that are here immediately, you're going to get an opportunity to put stuff on tape and show that you can make football plays. And it's kind of like you have the 3 groups, and if you make plays in group 3, you move up to group 2 and vice versa. But I also like intermixing some of the young guys with the old guys to see this is what it's like. This is the expectation level of execution and communication that has to happen if I want to play eventually. So I think it's getting guys a lot of reps, and everybody gets an opportunity. The biggest thing you want to do is be smart about making sure guys work together. So I want to make sure that, you know, the guys that are potentially going to start at quarterback are probably going to spend less time throwing to the true freshmen. And that starting offensive line group, you want to get them as many reps together as possible. Receivers, it's less important because you're not working on double teams together, but quarterback to receiver chemistry is extremely important. Lineman to lineman chemistry is really important.
Have you got a starting lineup yet for the offensive line?
We don't. I mean, Alex Ramirez is going to start for us at center. That's probably the only thing I can tell you for darn sure, because we have a lot of athletic guys. I mean, Jorgen Miller's going to play, whether it's at right tackle, left tackle, I'm not sure. You know, Jaden Garcia started for us at right guard. I would imagine he'll start for us at right guard this year. Striker Racine has stepped in and done a wonderful job, but he has to continue to do a great job in camp. And then right tackle's been a little bit of a battle because whether Jorgen stays there and we go with some of the other guys who have experience at left, we're integrating everybody there, trying to find our best 5. But man, I feel great about I mean, we have 8 or 9 guys that I would feel comfortable starting in a football game, but finding the chemistry of the best 5 and where they're at is really important.
Is that a plethora of riches compared to the offensive line at the end of last season?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of last season, absolutely, just because of where we were at. And, you know, some of that's my fault of changing the program, of trying to, you know, working on the identity and then kind of trying to fill the cabinet afterwards. But our guys have done an unbelievable job. It's a huge credit to Jeff Pittman and the strength staff and the work that they put in. A huge credit to the players for taking advantage of our nutritional benefits here, whether it's a Black Label, our nutrition budget, the strength and conditioning, the new weight room. Those guys have done a great job, and I'm excited to see that stuff play out in the fall because we'll definitely be able to play more balanced football, which is going to be important if we want to be more competitive in this conference.
What difference did the new weight room make to you this summer?
You know, I think the biggest thing is just the sense of pride that the players are able to have that we're constantly making improvements. And, you know, it's one thing about, you know, your weight room is, did our old weight room do the job? Yes, 45-pound weights weigh 45 pounds, but if you know you have a worse weight room than you did in high school, it's just showing that you have support and you have backing. And that's one of the great things about being at Idaho State is the community cares and having the opportunity to show that they care. You know, Calvin Pitcher, we're doing a thing where every day in camp our leaders going to have the opportunity to address the team and run the team meeting. And Calvin Pitcher spoke today about gratitude and just how many things have changed since he's been here. Many things that I didn't even realize changed right before I got here. I mean, I've been so blessed that there have been so many improvements over the last 18 months since I've arrived that it's been special. And I think our guys see that and they understand that, hey, there's support here. We are working hard, but other people are working hard for us too. And when that love and appreciation and hard work is reciprocated, I think it's good for those guys to feel proud of what they're doing, know that they're valued as far as their sense of worth is. It helps them go a little bit further, helps them go a little bit harder. Functionally, it creates much more space for us. We're able to get 16 racks in there instead of 15. And just these racks, we have double racks in the middle instead of having individual racks that add an extra 3-4 feet of space in there. So being able to lift 50 guys in there instead of 30 has made us much more efficient in there.
And then this one's my last one. But we've had people asking, so let's just go ahead and ask it. How is it having Dan on the staff? How's it having your dad on the staff? And what role does he actually play with your coaching group?
Yeah, so I think his job title is something fancy. He's like the Director of Player and Staff Development. And the reason, you know, you come up with something like that and people might go, oh, that's not he's not a coordinator or what. But I mean, really, that's what my dad does best. I mean, he's a master of developing people. He's a master of developing units and position groups and guys' sense of self. He does an awesome job mentoring coaches, and that's something that I recognize. I totally believe in my competence as a coach, but having the opportunity to get 40 plus years of experience at a really high level who can be an extra set of eyes. I love feedback. I crave feedback, and I think I'm always soliciting feedback from our staff, but you know, you're still like the head coach, and whether guys are willing to give feedback or maybe not experienced enough to give the feedback at the level that you want, he brings it in spades. My team meeting this morning, he ripped me to shreds, gave me 10 meetings about, 10 notes. And I mean, he's able to communicate it in a good manner. And whether he's helping out special teams or the specialists or the defense or, our receiver guys, we have a lot of young coaches on staff that can really benefit from that amount of wisdom. And I can't be in everybody's room all the time. And I really trust him, how he handles people, how he promotes the culture, his ability to teach, and his passion for developing people is unmatched. And just the ability to have that type of experience in this program is going to really help us going in the future.
Very good.
You know what? Sorry, one more. So tomorrow we're gonna hear from Josh Runda. He's gonna be the coach
Yeah.
at the press conference. What should the Bengal fans look out for with Mr. Runda this year?
Okay, Runda's got a lot of things going for him. He's smart, he's hardworking, he's humble, he's probably the best looking dude on staff. He's got an incredible life story, and I hope you guys get the opportunity to ask him about it. He'll say, he started in Ohio, boy, and he's continued to move west, but he does an unbelievable job running that defense. And I think the type of relationships he's able to have with the guys, his ability to teach, I think the culture in that room is absolutely incredible. The linebacker room does a great job. I mean, they live and breathe him. He has a great relationship with them. People gravitate towards him. He's kind of got that it factor that a lot of coaches wish they had. But he is a hard-working dude. You talk about being blue-collar. He's an Ohio guy, but if you think about Ohio, I mean, Ohio is to the East Coast, Midwest, kind of what Idaho is. I mean, you want blue-collar, hard-working guys, and that dude, he's going to beat most coaches into the office. He's going to stay later than most coaches. He's going to spend more time watching tape, diving into the details. He's an excellent teacher. He's an excellent speaker. Runda will not be at Idaho State for long. He's too talented. I mean, he's got a bright future in the game. He knows enough people. He asks the right questions. He takes feedback great. And just the way people relate to him is something special. And people notice. I mean, he had the opportunity to leave last year and ended up staying just because it wasn't the right opportunity. But as much as I love him, he's bound for big things, and we'll try like heck to keep him here as long as we can. And we're sure lucky to have him in black and orange.